The website that I find most beneficial, most valuable, or the best that I can use in my classroom is ClassDojo. So when you create your free account in ClassDojo, you have the ability to add classes. You can have multiple classes if you teach more than one at a time. I only have one group of students, so I have one class, and all of my students are listed on this main page. This main page is mainly used for keeping track of behavior. So when I click on any student, so I'll click on Anisha, it will pop up with all of these options that I can give her points for. Some of these are already on here when you create your account, and others that I added just for my account. At my school, we use the behavior system of PBS, and we follow the acronym of ROARS. So for ROARS, each letter stands for something else that I included on my account. So the first letter in ROARS is R. So I have respectful, on task, accountable, responsible, and safe. And I added those to my account because that's what we follow in my building. So if I see Anisha, working very hard, she's on task, she's doing the right thing, I can give her a point. All of those items can be given more worth. So if I think, being safe is way more important than all of the other things, I can make it worth more points. And same thing with all of the other options. If I were to see Anisha doing something that she shouldn't be, she's talking, she's not on task, I am able to take points away. However, in my building, we try to stay positive in regards to behavior. So I don't personally take points away, but it is an option. So I would go into Anisha's account, click on Needs Work, and then select one of these or add something else to be able to incorporate what she was doing where she was not earning a positive point. So now you can see that her point has been taken away. Down here is a list of many of the things that ClassDojo can allow you to do. This section is where you would invite parents. It says 0% for me. I just started using this website not long ago, so I haven't included my parents on it. I began the school year with the Remind app, which allows me to communicate with my families and whatnot. So I didn't want to change it up on them before the end of the school year. So I definitely think that that's something that I will begin at the beginning of next year. So right now is sort of my trial period where I'm kind of, figuring out what all this website has available and what all I can use it for. So student accounts is where all of my students have their own portfolio. This is where their behavior is tracked. I can add notes for them. Their documents can be uploaded. I can add photographs, all things for their families to see when their families have access to the site. The Big Ideas section is an area that will link you to another ClassDojo website that gives a lot of information on the ins and outs of it and how you can use it and that sort of thing. The timer can be found here, or later on I will show you in the toolkit. Stopwatch, if you want to see how long it takes a student to do something, you can start the stopwatch, and when the child has done their activity, you can pause it to know how long it was. Resetting it is very simple. You can also do a countdown. I use the 1-minute countdown often. For example, when students are changing centers. You have 1 minute, you need to clean up your center, push your chairs in, go to your next center, and be there working before the timer goes off. Same thing with lining up. Clean up, chairs in line, voices off before the 1-minute timer goes off. And you are able to change it to whatever time you want. You could change it to 5 minutes and 30 seconds. It's very handy, very easy to use. This random button, I will show you more into that when we get to the toolkit, but this allows you to choose one child at random for something. Select multiple. So if I have a group of students, Aaliyah, Jaheem, Pamela, and Randy, they're all working in a group together, they're doing an awesome job, I can give all of those students feedback at one time. For example, I can, jot down a note, this student was working hard on this student was doing this, and I only have to type it once, but it will reach out to all of those student portfolios that I had selected. So that's convenient because I don't have to, click one student, type a note, save it. Click the next student, type a note, and save it. It's definitely a time saver. So I'm going to cancel out of that. Attendance. This is one of the awesome things I love about ClassDojo. I love that you can mark all of your students present. You can mark 2 absent. You can mark all of them just by clicking one of these buttons for, a PD day or a day where students aren't in the building. But what I like most about this is that it kind of acts like a backup for my attendance that my district requires. We have to complete paper attendance to be sent to the office daily and submit it on the computer. This is kind of like a third way to check attendance so that, every once in a while, hey, can you double check, make sure this student was here that day? Well, if we didn't do any paper pencil work that day, it was all, hands-on activities, group work, that sort of thing, I might not have a physical paper to turn in saying, yes, the student was here that day. So this kind of acts as another backup, hey, you know what, that student was here that day. So I do really like that. And then if you complete the attendance, it definitely makes another aspect of this website super handy, and I will talk about that when we get there. There's also this toolkit. There's another place for you to find that same timer. It's only the countdown timer, not the stopwatch, but it's still very convenient. You can select one of the current times that are there or add your own. You can select a random student. So I chose Kevin B. Or if he's absent or something, or he was pulled for ELL services, I can pick another student. I think this is very convenient because I know a lot of teachers write their student names on popsicle sticks, and they will pull a popsicle stick and have that specific child, answer a question or, really get that conversation or discussion started. And this is not hands-free, but more hands-free way to, pull those sticks and choose that student without actually having to, hold a cup of popsicle sticks in your hand. So I definitely think that this is very convenient. Back to that toolkit, Group Maker. So this is where it's important to complete your attendance in ClassDojo. This allows you to group your students based off of how many students you want in a group. If you complete your attendance in ClassDojo, those student names will not show up in a group. So it's definitely convenient so that way you're not rearranging later on. So I'm going to say that I want my group of students to be into groups of 3. So it separates all of my students randomly into groups of 3, and then I have my group of 2. So then at that point I would choose, I want these 2 students to work together, or I would separate them to make 2 groups of 4. And like I said, if you complete your attendance, those students who are absent do not show up in this section. So it's definitely very convenient, and you're not having to rearrange students later on. You can also, in that section of the Group Maker, make it so that if you have students who do not work well together, you can enter their names in so that they will not be grouped together, and they don't even need to know that you had set that up. It'll randomly create the groups, and those students will not be placed together. There is a noise meter, which if you have a microphone attached to your computer or your laptop in the classroom, you can use that. Unfortunately, I do not. But you can use this to track, how loud or how quiet your students are being. You can enter directions for an activity, write the activity name. What are the students doing first? When you add that, you can add what are they doing second, and all the steps that they need to take to complete their assignment. You can start the activity right away or save it for you to put up later. Think, Pair, Share. I like this because it gets some of my students talking in the mornings during our class meeting. What are you grateful for today? What's something you've gotten better at? What's something you've struggled with lately? I can add my own questions, but I really think that getting these students to talk about these things helps them to open up about their thoughts and what's been going on lately, and gets them to think in a more positive way first thing in the morning. This provides just the day of the week and the date. And this last one I use all of the time. So when you click on music, you can choose focus or active. Active is more upbeat and focus is more calm and relaxing. The one thing that I like most about this section is that you can start the music and move throughout different websites and the music will still play. I know a lot of times music will stop playing if you close out or go to do something else. So I will show you the focus music. And I can click on other websites and it's still playing. I can pause it. And same thing with the more upbeat, active music. So there are very many options. There are so many options that you can do with this website. I definitely think it's beneficial to me, and I really think that many other educators could benefit from this website. So as I stated previously, I haven't used the parent links or any of that yet. I definitely want to get used to all of the ins and outs first. And at the beginning of next year, I'll see how I like it with the parent communication part attached to it.